They say God works in mysterious ways, but I never expected him to expose my husband's affair during our church's 75th anniversary celebration. Emmanuel Baptist Church in Charlotte, North Carolina. Sunday, September 15th, 2020. 1,000 people gathered to celebrate 75 years of ministry, worship, and legacy. Guest speaker flown in from Atlanta. Praise team rehearsed for weeks. The entire church decorated in gold and burgundy. My family's church for 3 generations, where my grandmother served as a missionary for 40 years, where my mother sang in the choir for 35 years, where I was baptized at age 12, where I married Raymond Caldwell 26 years ago. And there she was, walking to the pulpit to deliver the anniversary sermon. A woman I'd never met. 40 years old, beautiful, confident, wearing an elegant navy blue suit. And around her neck, catching the sanctuary lights, unmistakable and impossible and devastating, was my mother's cross necklace. The one-of-a-kind 18-karat gold cross with 7 small diamonds arranged in a pattern I'd memorized over 15 years. Handcrafted by my grandfather in 1947, given to my mother in 1972, placed in my hands by my dying mother in 2010 with the words, "Never take it off." The necklace that disappeared from my jewelry box 2 years ago. The necklace Raymond swore he knew nothing about. Was hanging around the neck of the guest speaker at our church anniversary, about to preach to 1,000 people about honoring legacy while wearing my stolen family legacy around her neck. That's when I looked across the sanctuary at Raymond. His face had gone completely white. His hands were gripping the pew in front of him. He was staring at her with pure terror in his eyes. And I knew. This woman wearing my dead mother's necklace at our church pulpit was the woman my husband had been sleeping with, and he'd given her the one thing I treasured more than anything in this world. My name is Denise Wright, and before I tell you about the day I saw my mother's cross necklace around a stranger's neck at church anniversary, you need to understand what Emmanuel Baptist means to my family and what that necklace meant to me. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. Born and raised in the historic Biddleville neighborhood, a historically Black community with deep roots. My family has been in Charlotte for 4 generations. Emmanuel Baptist Church has been our spiritual home for 3 of those generations. It's a beautiful brick church built in 1948, sits on the corner of Beatty's Ford Road. 800 active members, traditional Black Baptist worship, powerful preaching, incredible choir, strong community connection. My grandmother, Mother Ruth Wright, was a missionary there for 40 years. She wore white every first Sunday, visited the sick, prayed for families in crisis, organized mission trips, served faithfully until she passed at age 85 in 2003. My mother, Dorothy Williams, sang in the choir for 35 years. First soprano, voice like an angel, could hit notes that would bring the entire congregation to tears. She raised me and my brother in that church. We were there every Sunday morning, Sunday evening, Wednesday night, choir rehearsal, vacation Bible school, youth group, revival, everything. Emmanuel wasn't just a church, it was family. I was baptized there at 12 years old, joined the youth choir, taught vacation Bible school, went through confirmation, grew up in those pews. When I was 24, fresh out of North Carolina Central University with a degree in nursing, I met Raymond Caldwell at Emmanuel. He was 26, had just moved to Charlotte for a position at Atrium Health as a medical equipment sales representative. He was visiting churches, looking for a home congregation. His aunt attended Emmanuel and brought him one Sunday in 1994. We met at the fellowship hour after service. Raymond was handsome, professional, had a good job, seemed genuine in his faith. We started talking, found common ground, enjoyed each other's company. He started attending regularly, got involved, joined the men's ministry within 6 months. We started dating around month 8 of him attending. Took it slow. My mother approved, which meant everything. After 2 years of dating, Raymond proposed. Did it right? Asked my father's permission first, then proposed after Wednesday night Bible study with my family present. We got married at Emmanuel in 1996. Pastor Green officiated. 250 people attended. My mother sang the Lord's Prayer. It was beautiful, sacred, blessed. For the first 20 years, we built a good life, bought a house in the university area. I worked as a nurse at Atrium Health, Maine. Raymond did well in medical sales, eventually became a regional manager. We attended Emmanuel faithfully, never missed unless sick or traveling. Raymond became a trustee in year 10 of our marriage. Trustees at Emmanuel handle finances, building maintenance, strategic planning, important leadership positions. You have to be vetted, approved, trusted. Raymond was good at it. Everyone respected him. We were that couple, stable, faithful, committed, involved. People looked at us as an example. But the most important part of my story, the part that makes everything that happened so devastating, is my mother and her cross necklace. My mother, Dorothy Williams, was everything to me. She was strong, faithful, loving, wise. She worked as a teacher for 30 years, raised 2 children, served in church, loved her family deeply. She was my hero, my best friend, my spiritual foundation. In 2009, she was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. The doctors gave her 6 months. She lived for 14 months, fighting with grace and faith every single day. I spent that year caring for her, taking her to treatments, sitting with her during the bad days, praying with her, holding her hand, trying to make every moment count. It was the hardest year of my life, but also the most sacred. On January 4th, 2010, 3 days before she died, my mother called me to her bedside. She could barely speak, her voice just a whisper. She reached up and unclasped the cross necklace she'd worn every single day for 38 years. The one her mother, my grandmother, had given her in 1972. The one my grandfather had handcrafted in 1947 for my grandmother's 30th birthday. 18-karat gold, a simple cross design, 7 small diamonds arranged in a specific pattern, forming a smaller cross within the larger cross. Absolutely unique, one of a kind. My mother placed it in my hands and said, her voice barely audible, "This was your grandmother's. She wore it every day of her married life. She gave it to me when your father died and told me it would remind me that God's love never leaves even when people do. It kept me strong for 38 years. Now I'm giving it to you. Wear it every day, Denise. Remember you come from strong women. Remember that God's love is permanent even when everything else changes. Remember me. Remember who you are. Never take it off. Never let it go." 3 days later, January 7th, 2010, my mother died peacefully, with me holding her hand. I put that cross necklace on that day, and I wore it every single day for 8 years. Every morning when I'd clasp it around my neck, I'd think of my mother, of my grandmother, of the legacy of faith and strength they'd passed to me. It wasn't just jewelry. It was history. It was love made tangible. It was connection to the women who came before me. It was irreplaceable, sacred, priceless. Raymond knew how much it meant to me. He'd watched me cry over it, pray over it, hold it when I missed my mother. He knew that necklace was my most treasured possession. For 8 years, from January 2010 through July 2018, I wore that necklace every single day. It never left my neck except at night when I slept. And even then, it was always in the small crystal dish on my nightstand, always within arm's reach, always safe, until July 23rd, 2018, when it disappeared. I woke up that Monday morning, reached for the necklace in the crystal dish where I'd placed it the night before, and it was gone. Empty dish. Empty nightstand. I searched frantically, under the bed, in the sheets, in the bathroom, everywhere. Raymond helped me search. We looked for hours. Nothing. It had vanished. I was devastated, absolutely devastated. Losing that necklace felt like losing my mother all over again. I cried for days. Raymond seemed concerned, seemed sympathetic, seemed genuinely upset for me. He suggested maybe we'd had a break-in, maybe it had been stolen, maybe we should file a police report. We did. The police came, took a report, said there was no sign of forced entry, nothing else was missing, probably misplaced or inside job. But I hadn't misplaced it. I knew exactly where it was, and now it was gone. I mourned that necklace for months. Every morning I'd reach for it automatically, remember it was gone, feel the loss all over again. Raymond would try to comfort me, would say maybe it would turn up, offered to buy me a new necklace to honor my mother. But I didn't want a new necklace. I wanted my mother's cross. I wanted my grandmother's legacy. I wanted the irreplaceable, and it was gone. Eventually, painfully, I accepted the loss, moved forward, tried to heal, but I never stopped missing it. Never stopped hoping that somehow, someday, I'd see it again. What I didn't know was that Raymond had taken it. Not a burglar, not random theft. My husband. He'd taken it from my nightstand while I slept, taken this sacred heirloom he knew was irreplaceable and given it to his mistress as a gift. Given my mother's cross, my grandmother's legacy, my most treasured possession to another woman. A woman he'd been seeing secretly. A woman who would eventually stand at the pulpit of my church, wearing my family's legacy around her neck. Let me back up and tell you about the affair I didn't know was happening. Around year 23 of our marriage, early 2018, Raymond started changing. Small things at first. More time on his phone, more careful about where he left it, new password protection I'd never seen before. Working later, gym more often, dressing better, new cologne. Just trying to take care of myself, he'd say when I'd comment on the changes. Getting older, want to stay healthy? Made sense. He was 48. Men his age start caring more about fitness and appearance. But then there were inconsistencies. He'd say he was working late, but when I'd call his office, they'd say he'd left at 5. He'd say he was at the gym, but there were no gym charges on our bank account. He'd mention a work conference in Atlanta, but when I'd check his work calendar that synced to our family calendar, there was nothing scheduled. Little lies, little gaps in his story, little moments that didn't add up. My spirit started feeling uneasy. Something was wrong. I just didn't have proof yet. Around May 2018, 1 month before my mother's necklace disappeared, I was doing laundry and found a receipt in Raymond's pants pocket. Dinner at a nice restaurant in uptown Charlotte. $200 bill. Date was a Wednesday night when he'd said he was working late. I took a photo of the receipt, said nothing yet, started watching more carefully, paying attention to patterns. The late nights were always Wednesdays and Fridays. The unexplained absences, the careful phone behavior, the distance between us that had been growing for months. All of it pointed to one thing. Raymond was seeing someone. I prayed about it, fasted, asked God for wisdom. Talked to my mother's best friend, Sister Margaret, who'd been like an aunt to me. If he's doing wrong, God will expose it, she said. You don't have to play detective. Just pray and trust God to reveal truth in His timing. So, I prayed. And I trusted. And I waited. And apparently, God's timing was September 15th, 2020, at our church's 75th anniversary celebration. Emmanuel Baptist's 75th anniversary was a huge event. The church was founded in 1945, right after World War II, by 15 families who wanted to create a spiritual home for Black families in Charlotte. 75 years later, we'd grown to 800 members, 3 services every Sunday. Active community ministry, strong reputation across Charlotte. The anniversary celebration had been planned for a year. Entire month of special services, concerts, history presentations, culminating in a massive anniversary Sunday on September 15th. The planning committee had decided to bring in a guest speaker for the anniversary sermon. Someone with a national reputation, someone inspiring, someone who could speak powerfully about legacy and faithfulness and vision for the future. After months of research and outreach, they'd secured Vanessa Price. She was a 40-year-old motivational speaker, leadership consultant, and Bible teacher based in Atlanta. She traveled nationally speaking at churches, conferences, and corporate events. Her website showed impressive credentials, powerful testimonials, professional polish. The planning committee was excited. Pastor Green was excited. Everyone was excited to hear from this anointed woman of God. When the church announced Vanessa Price as the anniversary guest speaker, I looked her up online. Impressive resume, Polished website, good reviews. I was looking forward to hearing her. I had no idea she was the woman Raymond had been seeing for over 2 years. No idea she was wearing my mother's necklace. No idea everything was about to explode in the most devastating, public, undeniable way possible. September 15th, 2020, the 75th anniversary Sunday. I woke up that morning feeling expectant, grateful for the church family that had carried my family for 3 generations. Raymond seemed tense at breakfast, but I attributed it to normal Sunday morning rush. We got dressed in our anniversary finest. I wore a gold dress. He wore a black suit with a gold tie to match the church colors. We drove separately because I had to be there early to help with hospitality setup, and he had a trustees meeting before service. I arrived at Emmanuel at 8:30 a.m. The sanctuary looked stunning. Gold and burgundy flowers everywhere, large banners hanging with 75 years of faithfulness emblazoned across them. Historical photos displayed in the lobby showing the church's journey from 15 families in a storefront to 800 members in a beautiful building. The atmosphere was celebratory, grateful, sacred. This was a big day. 1,000 people were expected between the combined 10 a.m. service and special afternoon program. I helped set up the hospitality table, made sure programs were ready, greeted early arrivals. By 9:30, people were streaming in. Members, former members who'd moved away, community leaders, representatives from other churches, everyone dressed in their finest, everyone excited to celebrate. Raymond arrived around 9:45 from his trustees meeting, came and stood with me in the sanctuary. We took our usual seats, 5th row center, same place we'd sat for 26 years. The service began at 10 a.m. sharp. The sanctuary was packed, standing room only, over 1,000 people. The praise team led worship. The choir sang a powerful anniversary medley, testimonies from longtime members, a video presentation showing the church's history. It was beautiful, moving, powerful. Pastor Green welcomed everyone, thanked God for 75 years, honored the founding families, recognized current leadership. Then he said the words that would change everything. Church family, it is my honor to introduce our guest speaker for this anniversary celebration. Sister Vanessa Price comes to us from Atlanta with a powerful testimony and a prophetic word. She's a sought-after speaker, leadership consultant, and woman of God. She's going to share a word about honoring legacy and building on the foundation our ancestors laid. Please welcome Sister Vanessa Price. The congregation erupted in applause. From the side entrance, Vanessa Price walked onto the platform. She was striking, confident, elegant. She wore a navy blue suit with a white blouse, her hair pulled back in a sophisticated bun, carrying a leather Bible. And around her neck, absolutely unmistakable, catching every light in the sanctuary, was a gold cross necklace. My mother's gold cross necklace. The one with 7 diamonds in the specific pattern I knew by heart. The one I'd worn for 8 years. The one that disappeared from my nightstand 2 years ago. The one Raymond said he knew nothing about. Time stopped. Everything froze. The applause continued, but I couldn't hear it anymore. All I could see was that necklace, my mother's cross, around this stranger's neck, at our church pulpit, on our anniversary Sunday, in front of 1,000 people. Impossible, but undeniable. I looked at Raymond beside me. His entire body had gone rigid. His face was white, completely drained of color. His hands were gripping the pew in front of us so tightly his knuckles were bone white. He was staring at Vanessa with an expression of pure, undisguised terror. Not surprise, not confusion, terror. The look of a man watching his worst nightmare materialize in front of him. And that's when I understood, the way he was looking at her, the panic in his eyes, the way his whole body was shaking slightly. He knew her, not as a guest speaker. He knew her personally, intimately. And he knew that was my mother's necklace around her neck, which meant he'd given it to her, which meant Raymond and Vanessa Price, the guest speaker at our church anniversary, the woman about to preach to 1,000 people, were connected, deeply connected. And she was wearing the evidence around her neck for everyone to see. My hands started shaking. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I leaned toward Raymond and whispered, barely keeping my voice under control. "That's my mother's necklace, on her neck. That's the cross that disappeared 2 years ago." "How does she have it, Raymond? How does the guest speaker at our church have my mother's necklace around her neck right now?" Raymond didn't answer. Couldn't answer. He just sat there frozen, staring at Vanessa, unable to speak, unable to move. His silence was confirmation. His terror was confession. I didn't need him to say the words. I already knew. This woman wearing my mother's legacy was destroying my marriage. And she was about to preach about honoring legacy while wearing my stolen family treasure. Vanessa reached the pulpit, adjusted the microphone, smiled at the congregation. "Good morning, Emmanuel Baptist," she said warmly. Her voice was confident, engaging, anointed. "What an honor to be here on your 75th anniversary. What a legacy, what faithfulness, what a foundation you have to build upon." The congregation responded with amens and applause. She opened her Bible. "Today, I want to talk to you about honoring the legacy of those who came before us, about treasuring what was passed down to us, about wearing the mantle with dignity and respect." She paused and reached up, touched the cross necklace around her neck, letting it catch the light. "This cross," she said, "was given to me by someone very special. It reminds me that we carry the prayers, the faith, the sacrifice of those who came before. We don't take that lightly. We honor it. We treasure it. We pass it forward." I felt like I'd been punched. She was touching my mother's cross, talking about honoring legacy, while wearing stolen legacy. The irony was suffocating. The audacity was breathtaking. She preached for 30 minutes. Powerful sermon about building on foundation, honoring ancestors, staying faithful to the vision. She was gifted, engaging, spirit-filled. Under different circumstances, I would have been blessed by the message. But all I could focus on was the cross around her neck. My mother's cross. Stolen from me. Given to her by my husband. Being displayed at my church while she preached about honoring what was passed down. Raymond sat beside me in agony. He never looked at me. Just stared at his hands, at the floor, anywhere but at Vanessa or at me. After the sermon, Vanessa prayed a beautiful closing prayer, thanked the church for the invitation, and took her seat on the platform. The service continued with closing remarks from Pastor Green, a final song from the choir, benediction. Then it was over. Fellowship time. People stood, talking, hugging, taking photos, celebrating. The sanctuary buzzed with excitement. I stood up slowly. Mama instinct kicked in. I needed to see that necklace up close, needed to confirm what I already knew in my soul. I walked toward the platform where Vanessa was standing, talking with Pastor Green and some of the anniversary planning committee members. I waited until there was a break in conversation, then approached. "Sister Vanessa," I said, my voice steady and warm. "That was a beautiful message. Thank you for blessing us today." She turned, smiled broadly. "Thank you so much. This church has such a powerful legacy. I'm honored I could be part of your celebration." "I couldn't help but notice your necklace," I said, gesturing to the cross. "It's absolutely beautiful. Very unique. Where did you get it?" Her hand went to the necklace instinctively, touched it. "Oh, thank you. It was a gift from someone very special to me." "It's stunning," I continued, stepping closer. "Is it vintage? It looks handcrafted." "I believe it is," she said. "One of a kind, actually. Custom made." "May I see it closer?" I asked. "I love unique jewelry." "Of course," she said, leaning forward slightly so I could see. The cross hung about 6 inches from her neckline. I could see every detail. The 18-karat gold. The 7 small diamonds forming a smaller cross within the larger cross. The specific pattern. The slight imperfection in the lower right arm where my grandfather's hand had slipped during crafting. The tiny engraving on the back that I couldn't see from this angle, but I knew was there. Ruth, 1947, Dorothy, 1972, Denise, 2010. "It's beautiful," I said, my voice still controlled. Very special. Who gave it to you, if you don't mind me asking? Just someone important in my life, she said, touching it again. Why do you ask? I looked directly in her eyes. Because my grandfather handcrafted that cross in 1947 for my grandmother Ruth's 30th birthday. She wore it for 25 years. She gave it to my mother Dorothy in 1972 when my father died. My mother wore it for 38 years. She gave it to me 3 days before she died of cancer in January 2010. I wore it every single day for 8 years until it disappeared from my jewelry box in July 2018. That cross has been in my family for 73 years, and you're wearing it around your neck at my church anniversary. So I'll ask again, who gave it to you? Her face changed completely. Color drained. Her eyes went wide. Her hand dropped from the necklace. I was told it was custom made. For me. A gift. I didn't know. Who gave it to you? I repeated, my voice harder now. She looked past me, scanning the sanctuary. Her eyes found Raymond, who was still sitting in our pew, watching this entire exchange with horror on his face. She looked back at me, started to speak, stopped. People around us had started to notice the tension. Conversations were stopping. Eyes were turning toward us. My husband Raymond gave it to you, didn't he? I said. Not a question, a statement. I didn't know it was stolen, she stammered. He said it was custom made. He said whatever he needed to say to give you my dead mother's most precious possession, I finished. How long, Vanessa? How long have you been sleeping with my husband? The words hung in the air. Several people gasped. Pastor Green, who'd been talking nearby, turned sharply. Sister Denise, what's going on? I didn't take my eyes off Vanessa. Pastor, this is my mother's necklace that Sister Vanessa is wearing. The one I reported stolen 2 years ago, the one I mourned like losing my mother all over again. My husband Raymond gave it to her, which means my husband and your guest speaker have been in a relationship, and she just preached to us about honoring legacy while wearing my stolen family legacy around her neck. Pastor Green's face went serious. He looked at Vanessa. Sister Price, is this true? Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. I didn't know it was hers. I swear I didn't know. Raymond told me he had it custom made. He said it was designed specifically for me. I would never, if I'd known. Raymond appeared beside us, his face desperate. Denise, please, let's talk about this at home. No, I cut him off. We're talking about it right here, right now, in front of Pastor Green and everyone else. Did you steal my mother's necklace from our bedroom and give it to her? Long pause. Raymond looked at the floor. Then quietly, yes. More gasps from the growing crowd around us. Pastor Green said firmly, Brother Raymond, Sister Vanessa, my office. Now, Sister Denise, you're welcome to join us or take time if you need it. I'll come, I said. My voice was steady, but my entire body was shaking. We walked to Pastor Green's office in silence. By then, half the congregation knew something had happened. Whispers filled the sanctuary. Once in the office, door closed, Pastor Green sat behind his desk and looked at all 3 of us. Someone explained to me what's happening. Raymond spoke first, his voice broken. Vanessa and I have been seeing each other for over 2 years, since January 2018. We met at a medical conference in Atlanta, started communicating, then meeting when we could. It became a relationship. In July 2018, her birthday was coming up, and she mentioned wanting a meaningful piece of jewelry. I took Denise's mother's necklace and gave it to Vanessa. I told her I had it custom made. I lied to everyone. I lied to Denise about not knowing what happened to it. I lied to Vanessa about where it came from. I've been lying about everything. Pastor Green looked at Vanessa. And you had no knowledge this was stolen? None, she said, crying now. He told me it was custom designed. One of a kind. I treasured it because I thought it was his way of showing he cared. I wore it constantly. I wore it here today because I thought it was mine. If I'd known it was stolen, if I'd known it belonged to his wife, to her deceased mother, I would never. I'm so sorry. She reached behind her neck, unclasped the necklace with shaking hands, and held it out to me. "Please take it back. I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you. I didn't know." I took the necklace from her hand. The moment it touched my palm, I felt it, the weight of it, the familiar feel, the connection to my mother. I closed my hand around it tightly, felt the tears finally come. I had my mother's cross back, but the cost of its return was devastating. Pastor Green spoke with authority. "Brother Raymond, as of this moment, you are suspended from all trustee duties pending a full investigation and church discipline process. Sister Vanessa, I'm going to ask you to leave Emmanuel Baptist and return to Atlanta. Your speaking fee will be paid in full, but you are not welcome to stay for the afternoon program. This situation is deeply troubling and disrespectful to this congregation and especially to Sister Denise." Vanessa nodded, still crying. "I understand. Again, I'm so sorry." She gathered her things and left quickly, head down. Pastor Green looked at me with compassion. "Sister Denise, I'm so sorry this happened. Especially today, especially here. We will handle this appropriately. The trustees will meet tomorrow. Raymond will be held accountable. Whatever you need from this church family, we're here." "Thank you, Pastor," I said quietly. Then I looked at Raymond. "Don't come home. Stay wherever you've been staying when you claim to be working late. I'll pack your things. We're done." "Denise, please," he started. 26 years, I said. 26 years of marriage. I stood beside you, supported you, loved you, trusted you. You stole from my dead mother's legacy to impress your mistress. Then you sat beside me in church for 2 years while she wore it. Today you brought her here, to our anniversary, to our church, knowing she'd be wearing my mother's cross at the pulpit. The betrayal is complete. We're done. I walked out of that office, out of the sanctuary, to my car. Drove home with my mother's cross clutched in my hand, crying tears of grief and relief and rage. I had recovered the necklace, but my marriage was over. The next day, Monday, the trustees met and voted unanimously to remove Raymond from his position. Word spread through the church rapidly. By Tuesday, everyone knew. Raymond and the guest speaker had been having an affair for 2 years. He'd stolen Denise's mother's necklace and given it to her. She'd worn it at the anniversary service. It was exposed. He was removed. She left Charlotte. The church family rallied around me in ways I'll never forget. Meals delivered. Cards of encouragement. Prayers. Women from the church sat with me, cried with me, reminded me I wasn't alone. Sister Margaret, my mother's best friend, came every day that first week. "Your mother would be so proud of how you handled this," she said, "with dignity, with strength. And you got her cross back. That's God's justice." I filed for divorce within the week, got an excellent attorney. We moved quickly. Raymond didn't fight me on anything. By December 2020, 3 months after Anniversary Sunday, the divorce was final. 26 years of marriage over. I got the house, fair alimony, and my mother's cross back where it belonged. Vanessa left Charlotte immediately after the anniversary exposure. She returned to Atlanta, tried to rebuild her speaking ministry, but word had spread in Christian circles. The woman who preached about honoring legacy while wearing stolen legacy. Her bookings dropped significantly. She eventually stopped speaking publicly, got a regular job, disappeared from the ministry circuit. Actions have consequences. Raymond tried to reconcile at first, begged me to reconsider, promised he'd change. When I wouldn't budge, he moved on quickly. Met someone else within 6 months. Married her a year later. Someone from outside our church circles, someone who didn't know his history. He left Emmanuel Baptist. Too much shame, too many people who knew what he'd done. But I stayed. Emmanuel Baptist is my family's church, my grandmother's church, my mother's church, my church. I wasn't leaving my spiritual home because of his sin. I stayed in my seat, 5th row center, same place I'd sat my whole life. The church family made sure I knew I was loved, valued, supported. That mattered more than I can say. That was 4 years ago. I'm 52 now, Still at Emmanuel Baptist, still in my seat, still serving in hospitality, teaching Sunday school, volunteering where needed. I bought my own house 2 years ago, smaller than the one Raymond and I shared, but mine, paid for with my nursing income and divorce settlement. I love it. It's peaceful. I'm dating someone new, a good man named Thomas, who attends another church in Charlotte. We met through mutual friends. He's a high school principal, divorced, kind, honest, transparent. Everything Raymond wasn't. We're taking it slow, but it's healthy and good. My mother's cross necklace sits in a safe deposit box now. I don't wear it anymore. It's been through too much, represents too much pain. But I visit it regularly. I hold it and remember my mother, remember my grandmother, remember that I come from strong women who survived impossible things. And I remember that God used even the theft of this sacred object to expose the truth I needed to see, to free me from a lying husband, to show me who really had my back. Raymond is still married to the woman he met after me. I hear through mutual acquaintances he's doing okay, working, trying to move forward. I don't wish him harm. That chapter is closed. Vanessa, last I heard, is still in Atlanta, working a regular job, no longer speaking publicly. The woman who stood at our pulpit wearing stolen legacy, preaching about honoring what was passed down, lost her platform because she didn't honor what belonged to someone else. And me? I'm still standing, still at Emmanuel, still surrounded by my church family, still holding my mother's cross when I need to remember where I come from, still free. You know, that anniversary was supposed to be a celebration. 75 years of faithfulness, legacy, and community. And it was, just not the way anyone expected. My breakthrough was seeing the truth I'd been missing, being set free from a husband who would steal from the dead to impress the living, having my church family surround me with love and support, knowing that God exposes what needs to be exposed in His timing, in His way. Vanessa wore my mother's cross to claim legitimacy she didn't have, but wearing someone's legacy doesn't make it yours. Preaching about honoring the past doesn't erase dishonoring the present. Standing at a pulpit doesn't make you holy when your heart is living in deception. Real legacy isn't what you wear around your neck. It's what you carry in your character. Real honor isn't what you claim with jewelry. It's what you live with integrity. And real justice isn't always immediate, but it's always certain. God sees, God knows, and God exposes what's hidden every single time. If this story resonated with you, subscribe for more stories about women whose church families stood with them when everything fell apart. Hit like if you believe God brings stolen things back to their rightful owners. Comment below. Have you ever had something precious stolen and recovered? How did your church family support you through crisis? Thank you for watching, and remember, wearing someone's legacy doesn't make it yours. Your actions reveal who you really are.